Okay, so like I said, you can click on either one of these. So let's go ahead and we'll do that. And it's going to take you to a Google site. This was created by me. And where it shows, or what it's taking you to, it's called databases to use. And so we want you using databases. Databases are a little different than a search engine. Something like Google or Yahoo, those are search engines. We want you using databases because a database is a collection of scholarly work. It's written by professionals within their area of study. That could be somebody like a college professor, a researcher, a scientist. It's somebody within academia who knows their stuff. And so what better, where else would we want to go than to the experts? So that's why we want you using these databases. And I do have them listed here. So if you scroll down, and so right here, online databases, they're bullet pointed here. So we have World Book Online, Britannica High School and Middle School, Explora, and ProQuest eLibrary. Depending if you're at home or at school, sometimes you will be prompted for a username and password, and I do have those listed here. So should that happen, just refer back to this website, and you'll get that information. And so we're telling you that these are the sites we want you to use. So I know you might be inclined to jump onto Google or reference Wikipedia. Wikipedia is good if you just need, some quick tidbit information. That's fine, but you shouldn't really be citing Wikipedia in your professional research work. So if you just stick to the databases that are suggested here, your research should go pretty smooth. So let's take a look at what World Book Online looks like. And again, it's prompting for that username password. I have it auto-filled, but again, it was Portage, username, password, Warriors. Nothing too complicated. And then within your resources, there's a couple different options here. They want to know who you are as a researcher. Are you a student? Obviously, you're not going to want to do the kids route because that's going to have more of an elementary grade level focus. So for you, I would recommend either student or advanced. But let's just go ahead and click on student. And so this is it. This is World Book Online Student Edition. Much like a search engine, we have our search bar here where you can click within the space and you can type in whether it be you want to know more about your country or your social issue. What's nice about these online databases is that they have other categories or they have quick links through on their main page of their screen. So maybe if you're having a hard time doing such a broad search just by typing in keywords, it does make recommendations for you on what to search. So you might find something here. All right, so let's go ahead and let's pick a country. So number one on that rubric, you have to research information on your country. Who's got a country? Well, Africa's not a country, but Afghanistan, okay. Here I was all excited. It was the first one I heard. Like, wait, that's not it. Yeah. Somewhere. Okay. So no matter what kind of search you do on the World Book Online, it's this is an encyclopedia, but online. So it's going to give you really general information about the search topics you enter. So whether you put in Afghanistan, Lebanon, Mexico, you're going to see something very similar to this. And at the very top, you get this information box. And again, it tells you about the people, the culture, religions that are predominant in that country. It's really nice. So I can guarantee you'll find information that you need to include on your website when telling us about Lebanon or Afghanistan. So if we click on this where it says read more, this is the article in its entirety. So a nation in Southwest Asia. And you might want to be that specific when you're telling your audience about your country that you're researching, because not everybody knows where Afghanistan is on a map. Or if you handed them a globe and say, point out Afghanistan, can you all do that? So it might, what? Yeah. So it might be wise to include, where it is geographically, maybe putting a map. One of the expectations with your website is that you have images. So it might be wise to put a map on there to give your audience some focus. So yeah, it tells us about the government, the people, ethnic groups, languages, ways of life. Oh, women. So when we had the books on display and you guys came in and browsed, we had the Middle Eastern books on this table over here, and there were a ton about women's studies and women's culture, women's role within the culture of Afghanistan or these other Middle Eastern countries. So like researching things on women is going to be huge. You're going to find a ton of stuff. Religion, education, arts, land and climate. So for the sake of our example here, let's say for someone who did Afghanistan, you did find something within this article that you're going to use on your website. You found a quote or some sort of statement. You're going to paraphrase it and put it into your website. What next do you have to do? Cite it. Very good. That's true with any class that you're in. Anytime you take something off the internet and put it into a research paper or project, you have to cite. You have to give credit where credit is due. And lots of reasons why we want you using these databases, but I think for you guys, you're definitely going to want to use these databases because they cite for you. You do not have to jump to MyBib or a citation generator. It gives it to you. If we go back up to the top, oops. No matter what article you're on, so we're on an article about Afghanistan, but if you had one up here about Mexico, look to the right of the article's title, and there's this gear. You click on the gear, gives you some options. Click on citation. Boom, it's right there, MLA. And I'm sure you're all aware, especially at this point in the game, that MLA is the format you should be following when doing your research within English class.
What's the difference? Yeah, what's Harvard? I'm just genuinely curious, because I know we have to use an APA for astronomy.
It's just, the professionals within that field, it's what they dictate. So, and they're constantly editing or putting different editions, like MLA 8, I think they're up to right now. Yeah. So people revise it, what they expect, what they want to see. Okay. So when you become a bigwig within a field of academia, you can call the shots and say, nope, this is how I want it.
You look at APA, you notice the date is further up, is more important to the citation.
But the sciences.
Yeah, science, the date matters, studying more so than something that's literature.
Yeah. But yeah, good observation. So from here, you can copy, paste. Mrs. Shanks has that notes document that she wants you plugging in all your various notes and pieces that you're uncovering. So this is definitely where you're going to want to copy and paste. Couple things as you're doing your citations page, your works cited. Make sure everything is in alphabetical order. So as you're plugging it, copying and pasting, make sure that they're staying alphabetized by the author's last name. So Hopkins, he's toward the front of the list, top of the list. And then another piece too that is crucial that you need to watch for in terms of style is this right here. Does anybody know what that's called? Why that spacing there? Hanging indent. Very good. Did you hear me from before?
No, I just know it's from
Poli-sci. Okay. So that is called a hanging indent. It is part of the styling of citation format. And you need to do a hanging indent if your citation goes onto the second line and thereafter. If you're putting your citations on your works cited page and it only goes on one line, you don't have to mess with it. Just leave it. Leave it as far over to the left as possible. But If you go on to a second or even a third line, you need to have that hanging indent. You need to have that space here.
Is that so they can like see where and when this
It helps to like separate the bibliographic information. Yeah, 'cause sometimes those citations can get pretty big. Just with the styling. And with Google Docs, and I'm sure we've all have encountered this when you're doing a works cited page. Sometimes Google doesn't like that tab feature. If you met in the top where there's that ruler and you mess with like the little triangles, I couldn't think of a word for them. You can do the tabulation that way as well, or just hitting enter and then clicking space 5 or 6 times.
You can also do it in format. If you go to indent in a line, there's a whole indent.
Or you can cite under tools in Google Doc and cite everything, and then not to insert it well.
I just learned something. So do that. She just done it. Okay, so that's World Book Online. So our next one too is, again, it's an encyclopedia, so very general information you're going to glean from here. And I don't know if I mentioned this, but don't be offended that I included the middle school one on here. It works very well when you're doing research on your country. There's lots of information on different aspects to your country, the history. But for our sake, let's go ahead and take a look at Britannica High School. So kind of similar. Again, it gives us these different areas to explore. But because you guys are going to this research, already knowing your country, your social issue, we can click on search, this yellow button. And so we talked about Afghanistan before, but maybe what's a social issue this time?
Sex trafficking.
Sex trafficking, all right. So it looks like, just looking at the description here, this little snippet of information, it's just going to give us some really general background on what human trafficking is. So if you yourself are unfamiliar with that, or maybe there are some things that left unknown or uncertain after you read your novel, this might be a good point to check out too, just to get some more information about human trafficking. And if you go back, there's a ton of stuff. I mean, human trafficking occurs all over the world. So you might even want to, when you're doing your search, put in your country's name. So human trafficking, Mexico or Guatemala. Be specific with your keyword searches. Otherwise, as you can see, this is a ton of stuff that you have to sift through. And some stuff that same-sex marriage, it's like, oh, why was that on there? So really, check out the title, read the description. If it does not correlate to what you're researching, ignore it, skip it, keep going, or go back and redefine your search, your keywords, because it's not going to be beneficial in your research. And now if you were to take something, again, just like from the last example, if you were to take something from this article, you have to cite it. And over here is where you're going to find those options. In this middle, with the check mark, if you hover over it, it does say cite, so we can click on that. And it gives us the MLA citation. And again, you see it's, we see the article first in quotes, and they've included the hanging indent. So again, it's a matter of copying, pasting, and you're done. And it looks like, too, it has the option to have it read to you.
Human trafficking, also called trafficking in
This
persons,
sounds,
form of modern-day
you won't be
slavery
able, I can hear it
involving the illegal
very
transport of
softly from my
individuals
computer, but
by
I don't think
force
you'll be
or
able to hear it
deception
up
for the
there.
purpose
But it
of
is
labor,
reading the text.
sexual
So you do
exploitation,
have that
or
to you
activities
as well.
in which others benefit.
All right. And then taking a look at Explora. This one I really like. I guess, as users of information and technology, we all have our preferences on places we like to use or go to. I really like Explora. I think their category breakdown is much better than the other two. You can see here there's an area dedicated to current issues. And because many of the books that you guys read, the issues in and of themselves still exist today, you're probably going to find it here within the current issues. So I appreciate that piece to it. But again, just like any of the searches, we are given a search bar. We can type in our information. Let's see. We can stick with sex trafficking. Watch too with these autofill features. So like we discovered before, when we just typed in sex trafficking, it brought back a lot of results. And some of the things weren't necessarily related to maybe what we were thinking would come back. So with these autofill, if there's something on there that really corresponds to your book or what was maybe mentioned in your memoir, go ahead and click on one of those. Maybe it's sex trafficking of a certain age group, a certain culture. And you can, the more defined you are with your keywords, the better search results you're going to get. So we could click on sex trafficking statistics. Maybe you want to incorporate some data. Uh-oh. Are we not? Did it go out again? I don't know if you guys experienced this, but the internet did go out last hour very briefly.
Really?
It did, yeah.
We were on the whole time.
Well, if you were in docs or anything, those would work. But
Stuff required music sheets.
Yeah, it just was lagging. Then I got a phone call. It's like, yep, the internet's not working.
Also don't the choir room, so I'm pretty sure they have their own server.
Yeah, a different router.
Yeah. There's just so many kids down there at one time.
Okay. So, let's try this again.
Yeah, Madison. I felt, yeah. I work at 3 a.m. Respectfully. She works at 3 a.m. every Saturday. She works from 3 to 7 a.m. and comes picks me up for school.
Okay, it's going now. With the articles you find, now this is specific with Explora. So it gives you the title, that's hyperlinked, and then it also gives you some other options, HTML full text and PDF full text. Do not just click on the title. When you click on the title, it only gives you the article's abstract. And I'll show you what that looks like. Probably like an abstract. Oh, this did take me to the article. Okay. So it did go to the PDF. So normally, if you just click on the title, it only gives you like the publication information, the authors, when it was published. There's no information you could take away from that. But the point I was trying to make is that when you see those two, the HTML full text and PDF, you want the PDF. HTML just gives you the text. So it's not really, I don't know, easy on the eyes, I guess, because it's just a page full of words. But I like the PDF better. It's the actual scanned image from the magazine or the article or journal that it's taken from. So yeah, it's as if you were opening up a magazine or any kind of periodical. And I know you can't see it, but off to the right on my computer screen, I can see it. again, there's those options where you can save it, print it, get the citation. I wish you guys could see it, but it is off to the right here where you see my mouse. So if I just go straight over to the right, there is an option to cite. You can kind of see the hovering text. I'll click on that. And if we just scroll down to M for MLA, right here, MLA 8th edition, here's the author. The article was found within Sports Illustrated. It gives us the volume, the date it was published, and that website. So you copy, paste that, put it on your notes, and you're done. All right, so that one was Explora. And then the last one here of our databases that you have access to is called the e-library. And this is one I know for sure that if you're not at school, you will have to put in the username and password. But because we're at school, it's going to go right to it. And it's this first one here, the e-library. The other 4 are for different areas of research. But I think for you guys and the topic that you're focusing on, or topics, I should say, just stick to the e-library. We don't want to make this any more overwhelming for you than it might already seem with all these different databases that you can use. Just stick to the e-library. What I love about e-library is that with this database, there is more of a focus on social issues or current issues, current events. And because that's pretty much the bulk of your research, you might definitely want to check out e-library, make a mental note. That's the one you might want to jump to first. What was that?
I don't even know what I'm doing.
Oh, you don't know?
It's about a paraplegic.
What book did you read?
I forgot.
Okay. Well, we can look at it too. We can help identify what your issue is.
Well, I'm sorry, is that a combo?
So again, need help choosing a topic, controversial issues, countries. So again, if you need to find information on your country or things that are happening there, historical events, social and political sciences. And as always, we get that nice little friendly search box up at the top. Who's got a different topic besides sex trafficking that we can explore?
Haley's gotta go.
Oh,
Just when you're finished, just send them on.
oh yeah, we all gotta leave. I gotta go too. So you can type in like Islam, because I know with a lot of those Middle Eastern books and with the refugees, religious persecution is a huge topic. So we could go Islam. And very similar, we get a little blurb on what Islam is. So whatever you are typing in, it'll give you some background. And then you'll see all the different articles that you have access to. And like I said, all of these databases, they do the citation for you. So if you were to read this article, incorporate something into your website, over here off to the right, you see cite. Click on that. And there's the MLA. It's defaulted to MLA, so how perfect. Here's the article's information. You copy, paste it. You're good to go. If you need to print, you can print as well in here, or you can send me things and I can print it for you. You can save it to your Google Drive if you need to come back to it later. So pretty nice. Other things. So at the bottom of our main page that we're having you go to for research, we do include 3 outside resources for you. So these are not online databases, but they are legitimate websites that are acceptable to use, especially for this research. The first 2 being Human Rights Watch and Amnesty International. On your websites, you guys need to tell your audience how they can get involved in this cause or find activism within it. You're going to find that information on these 2 sites here. They will give you names of organizations, foundations, charitable causes that you can become involved in.
So I can guarantee you you're going to use one or both of those for your research when you build your website. And then this last one, BBC World News. Another thing that you have to do on your website is tell us the current situation of your country or what is happening in terms of maybe the opioid epidemic or human trafficking. You'll find current information there. And the reason why we're recommending BBC to you is because it's very unbiased. We all know that in these crazy, crazy times, sometimes the news can swing one way to another, and we call that bias. Or maybe it might seem super conservative, or maybe super liberal. But with BBC, it seems to be really middle of the road. You get unbiased, you get balanced coverage on different world topics. So that's why it's one of the sites that we recommend you using, rather than maybe just going to CNN or Fox News. This is very middle ground.
1 minute left.
Oh.
Their stuff is in the room. So
Okay.
I want to make sure they. Sorry, I want to make sure they
That's
get
fine.
back.
So if you're ever in the ice center, hit me up for help. Come on here. You're welcome.
Thank you.
Yeah. Don't worry about me. I'll get this.
Well, Thursday on talk about Google Sites. So.
We'll see how it goes. I don't.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll have like a flood or something. Maybe apocalypse. I don't know.